Today we're going to read a book called Personal Space Camp by Julia Cook. My name is Louis, and people say that I have a problem with personal space. I don't think I do. I'm a space expert. Zoom, zoom, zip, zip, through the clouds, rip, rip, buzz the planets, tickle the sun, back to Earth. Now that was fun. A few days ago, I wanted to show Betty Jean how gravity worked, so I jumped off a chair and did a lunar landing on the quiet rug. While I was in the air, Richard got in my way. I lunar landed on Richard's leg. My teacher used her cranky voice. "Louis," she said, "you're having problems with your personal space." Why would she say that to me, I thought. I am a space expert. The other day on the playground, I was showing Rusty how comets sometimes smash right into satellites. I was the comet. Rusty was the satellite. And when we smashed, the playground teacher used her cranky voice. "Louis," she said, "you have a problem with your personal space." Why would she say that to me, I thought. I am a space expert. Abram had no idea what an eclipse was, so I showed him. While he was talking to our teacher about his spelling test, I slowly walked right in between them and waved my hands in front of their faces. My teacher used her really cranky voice. "Louis, you have a big problem with personal space, and I have just had it with you. Tomorrow I am sending you to personal space camp in Principal Goodkid's office." Wow, I thought, now I'm really going to be a space expert. I was so excited. I didn't know that Principal Goodkid was a space expert too. So I ran home and told my mom about my invitation. "It's about time," my mom said. The next day was my very important day. I couldn't wait to get to school. I thought about all the cool things I was going to get to do at Personal Space Camp. I wondered if our lunch would be served in vacuum-packed space food bags like the real astronauts get. Maybe we'll even get to eat space ice cream. I walked into the principal's office, and there, spread out on the floor, were 5 large hula hoops. We must be going to learn about Saturn's rings, I thought. "Please choose a hoop and sit inside of it," said the principal. "I knew it," I said to myself. "We're starting with Saturn." "You are all here today because you're having problems with personal space," said Principal Goodkid. "That's it. I'm here to be the teacher's helper." Does anyone want to tell me what personal space is? I raised my hand right away. "Yes, Louis," said my principal. "I'm a space expert," I said. "I can tell you everything you need to know about space. I have my own spaceship, and it goes like this. Zoom, zoom, zip, zip, through the clouds, rip, rip, buzz the planets, tickle the sun, back to Earth." Now that was fun. "That's great, Louis," said my principal, "but I'm not talking about outer space. I'm talking about personal space." "Personal space, outer space, what's the difference?" I asked. "Well, Louis, let's pretend that the hoop you're sitting in is your own personal spaceship. Are you a good pilot?" "The best there is," I said. "I never crash." "Well, what happens if I put 4 other kids inside your spaceship with you like this? Now, can you still be a good pilot?" "No," I said. "I'm too squished. I can't even move." "That's because there are too many people in your personal space. Do you like the way that feels?" "No. Other people don't like it either," said the principal, using her cranky voice. Principal Goodkid told everyone to go back to their own hoop, which was a good thing because Rusty had forgotten to brush his teeth before school. Principal Goodkid told us that personal space is the amount of space that you need to feel comfortable. "Everyone has a comfort bubble," she said. "Your comfort bubble is usually about the size of the hoop you're sitting in. If you get out of your hoop and get too close to another person, you break their comfort bubble." "That's when teachers use their cranky voice," I said. My principal took out a bottle of bubbles, and she blew through the wand. "Look at all the bubbles," she said. "Are they all the same size?" "No," we all agreed. Your comfort bubble will not always be the same size either. Sometimes it will be big, like when you're around a stranger or in a new situation. Other times it will be smaller, like when you're around your family or close friends. But most of the time when you're at school, your comfort bubble needs to be the size of your hula hoop. I started to realize that we were not going to talk about Saturn or its rings. Next, Principal Goodkid pulled out a big long rope with lots of knots in it. Finally, I thought to myself, real space camp stuff. Does anyone know what this is? Asked Principal Goodkid. That's a gravity extension line, I said with pride. It secures you to your spaceship so you don't float away. Well, not exactly, she said. This is a personal space lineup rope, PSLUR for short. Everyone grab a knot with their right hand. This is how far apart you should be when you walk with your class in a line. If you put your arms straight out ahead of you, your fingertips will barely be able to touch the shoulders of the person in front of you. Everyone has plenty of room, and your comfort bubble will not get broken. We went out into the hallway to practice walking with the personal space lineup rope, the PSLUR for short. I went to grab the red knot, and Rusty pushed me right out of the way. He wanted the red knot. Hey, I said to him, you just broke my comfort bubble. Please stay in your own personal space. Principal Goodkid was proud of me because I didn't push Rusty back. Then she gave Rusty her cranky look. I started to realize that we were not going to talk about a gravity extension rope or what it does. When we got back to Principal Goodkid's office, she made us lie down on a big white paper. She said that we could pose any way we wanted to, and then she traced each one of us. Finally, I thought, we're getting to some real space stuff. We got to cut out our own shapes, and then she asked us, why is having a shape of you useful? You're helping us make a pattern for our spacesuits, I said proudly. Not exactly, she said. Your body cutouts show you just how much personal space you take up. When all of us are together in a group, we have to share space. The rug we're sitting on is shared space. If you stand up on your feet like this, you take less shared space than if you sit down on your pockets like this. Now everyone put their shapes down flat on the rug, said Principal Goodkid. Look how much shared space they take up. Everybody's comfort bubble is breaking. This is what happens when you lie down on the rug in your classroom during story time. That's when teachers use their cranky voice, I said. I started to realize that we were not going to talk about making our own spacesuits or what spacesuits do. Suddenly, a light bulb went on in my head. Personal space wasn't what I thought it was at all. So that's why my teachers use their cranky voices, I thought to myself. At the end of the day, Principal Goodkid gave all of us graduation certificates for personal space camp. When I got home, I told my mom all about my day, and then I showed her my certificate. My mom was very proud. She stuck my certificate up on the fridge using the very important stuff magnet. The next day at school, my teacher let me share all that I had learned at personal space camp with my class. I had now become a double space expert. Ever since I became a personal space expert, my teacher hasn't had to use her cranky voice with me. Well, except for yesterday, when my paper space shuttle did a flyby right next to her ear. Zoom, zoom, zip, zip, through the clouds, rip, rip. Buzz the planets, tickle the sun, back to Earth. Now that was fun. The end.